Well, the Minister's budget was largely well received, including by the mining fraternity. And joining me now is Mike Teke. He's president at the Chamber of Mines. Thank you very much for joining us, Mike.
Thank you.
All right. Now, your official response to the budget seemed to be quite positive. What were the key highlights for you?
Well, the key highlights for me is looking firstly at growth, which was emphasized that the country has to grow. And we would like to see those prospects, and it will be good for the industry, it will be good for the people of this country. What he emphasized, number one, was the issue of infrastructure, which is critical to this country, and he spoke about Medupi Power Station as an example, that it will be completed this year, and if it's completed, then we'll have energy in the country, and that will improve our energy situation. The second part, which is specific to the mining industry as well, it's Transnet's improvement in terms of infrastructure, and we've seen improvement on the coal line, iron ore and manganese side. So we are positive about the budget.
All right, super. Now, one of the issues that the minister raised, which are really fundamental, is the relationship between all stakeholders in society, business, labour, government, civil society, and so on. I always get the feeling that there's always that talk, whether it's coming from the finance minister, other people. When do you think we're likely to see these words translated into deeds? Because if we look at what's happening in the platinum sector, for example, people are just not on the same page.
We are not on the same page, but the agenda is common. It's about economic growth, it's about stability of the country. Let me give you an example. Last year, Deputy President Kgalema Motlanthe was assigned by President Zuma to put together a framework agreement in the mining industry. And that framework agreement addresses issues that relate to growth, stability, and the specific issues that relate to worker situations. For instance, their living conditions, pay issues, their indebtedness. So that's taken care of in that framework agreement. We know that there were parties which didn't sign it, but at least we are on the same page in terms of public-private partnerships.
Now, the minister raised the issue of indebtedness, which you've just touched on. What is the chamber doing to perhaps educate miners in all the various companies about the pitfalls of getting into debt? Obviously, when they go on these long-term strikes, they do fall into the hands of loan sharks and so on. But what is it that the chamber's doing?
As you'd remember, post-Marikana in 2012, there was that framework, a peace and stability framework, which was signed with the DMR. That was the first one with Minister Shabangu. The second one, it's the one I mentioned earlier, the framework agreement with Deputy President Kgalema Motlanthe. In that framework agreement, issues that relate to worker indebtedness, living conditions, housing, and the like are taken care of in that, are being addressed, and there are specific actions on how collective bargaining will be taken care of, and it's driven by the Deputy President, which is a very high office in this country, and I believe we are doing something, we are making progress. Yes, at the moment there are negotiations in the platinum sector. As you know, that AMCU is negotiating with Lonmin, Anglo Platinum and Implats. Those negotiations are progressing, and I believe that they will find each other and will have an agreement soon.
Well, let's hope so. Now, one of the other critical issues is the fact that the finance minister established a tax review committee headed by Judge Dennis Davis, and you have expressed your keenness to engage with that committee. Now, given the fact that the mining industry is an important contributor to tax, what is it that you're going to be arguing in terms of striking the balance between being a good contributor to tax while at the same time ensuring the industry's viability?
Well, number one, you know the mining industry is a big contributor in terms of GDP, in terms of the growth of the country. We are basically the flywheel of this economy. The most important part from a tax point of view, the specific tax that comes up is the carbon tax, which has been mooted to deal with the issue of climate change and carbon emissions. And we are excited that at least he has postponed it up to 2016, not because it's something that it's being delayed, but because of consultation. And we are excited as a mining industry that we'll have an opportunity to participate in meaningful consultation in ensuring that when we reach that stage, we'll give our input with regards to the carbon tax.
Okay, we have lots more to talk about, but not enough time. Thank you so much, Mr. Teke.
Thank you.
That was Mike Teke. He's president of the Chamber of Mines.